So today was pretty hot. It got up to 99, 100, or 101 degrees. And this is my reed avocado. So what I want to show you is kind of what happened here. Check this out. My branch, which got really big and kind of heavy, I think. And because of the heat, it just kind of it's okay, it didn't break or anything like that, but it kind of just hunched over. And so I'm gonna tie it up to see if I can get it more straight up. But I was here yesterday and it was just fine, but today it got hotter than yesterday. So something to note for you guys to keep in mind when you're looking at your avocados. Just double check to make sure they're doing okay. And this particular branch is pretty thick. See my hands, and you know, because it's relatively big and thick, it got heavy, I think, and the heat, it just kind of fell over. So what we're gonna do is just get some of our green tape and just tie it to my pole here and then get it back up. All right, all fixed for now. Essentially what I did was I just tied this branch to my stake, and if you can see, this branch actually is a brand new, almost like a new leader. It just shot up. It's actually taller than every other branch that I have on this reed, so it's really taken off. But because it's taken off, it does need a little help to make sure that the branch gets a little bit more stiff. That way it can support itself. If I didn't get this, it might have stayed like this for a while, and then tomorrow we're expecting heat up into the 102 degrees F. So that's actually a bad thing for the whole mini orchard overall. But I have my water turned up to ensure that everything's kind of hydrated. So something to note for you guys too. Double check your avocados, double check that things aren't falling over, and double check that you have your water set up correctly. So anyways, here we go. Harvesting some chilies to make a sauce. These longer ones, they're actually called kung pao, which is kind of a funny name. These are jalapenos, but I let them kind of ripen a little too much. So they were looking good when they were green, but I decided to let them ripen just a little bit more. They get hotter, which is a good thing. So I'm gonna take a bite out of one of these. Let's see how it tastes. Actually, I thought it was gonna be spicier. It's got a good pepper flavor, but not as spicy as I'd like. I mean, I don't know. Not bad. Oh no, my leaves are turning yellow. This is normal. Don't worry guys. Especially when you got all new growth and everything's healthy. The older ones on the back, like these, which are just turning yellow, are just old leaves that will eventually fall off anyways. So completely normal. Now, if the new leaves and some of these newer ones are starting to turn yellow, you might have a problem. But other than that, you're just fine. This is some old footage of my Pinkerton where this was like the second flush, and as soon as it came out, it started to grow, but nothing turned green. The leaves were still kind of yellow, and then the heat hit, and then the leaves just started wilting. And you know, this goes to show that sometimes you just have a bad tree that has issues, and you know, it might be that you have root ball issues, which is pretty much what I think I had. And then in addition to root ball issues, you know, there's all sorts of soil issues, I think, where my soil in this section probably had a little bit more clay and wasn't as free draining as some of the soil in my other sections of my grove here. So sometimes you got to know when to hold them, and sometimes you got to rip them out and just kind of move on. So
I already showed you some of the things that I've done in the past where you can kind of help to protect your avocados with the heat. But in this case, even though I was trying to protect it, it still wasn't going to hold up. So that's kind of why I decided to go ahead and just take it out. So you guys remember my bacon avocado that had a couple of the fruit that dropped? So I decided to kind of hold on to the fruit just to see if it would ripen. They're really, really small, but it was just kind of a little experiment just to see if they would actually ripen and you can actually eat it. So left it on the counter. After some time, it just kind of shriveled and got really, really small. And here I am just cutting one open just to see what it looks like on the inside, just curious, right? So I did take a little bite out of one, and it had a little nutty flavor. It had an avocado flavor, but it was really rubbery and definitely not worth the time. So if you guys get some early fruit drop, don't even bother. Just leave them underneath the tree and let them kind of decay and rot back and provide some nutrients for your avocados. But I mean, it was still kind of fun just to see what it looked like, so that's kind of why I left it on the counter and just cut one open.
So ever since I stuck my reed into the ground, this used to be in a 5-gallon container, and it was stuck in this 5-gallon container for multiple years, which is a bad thing. I finally planted this thing like November of last year, and it's August of 2021 right now, and you can see this thing's really taken off, which is good. It's got all sorts of new green shoots coming out. The leaves are nice and green. It's handling the temperature really, really well, although we did have that branch that kind of fell over. But I essentially tied the branch to my stake just to kind of keep it up, and then once it gets a little more hard, eventually we'll get to a state where I can untie that thing and it's just gonna stand up by itself, kind of freestanding, I guess. So overall, this one's doing good. My other reed, which I'll show you right now, and I actually have this one underneath a shade cloth, is doing pretty good too. I mean, it was pretty hot today and expected to be hot for the rest of the week, but you know, we are getting some new growth. See some of this new growth that's coming out. I don't expect this branch, because it got sunburned and I didn't really paint it until recently, well, until earlier this year, to do anything. So a new branch is going to have to come out that's going to have to take over and be almost like a new leader. So here's to hoping that that happens. But what's interesting is both of my reeds are essentially like right next to each other. They are on the same watering schedule. They are planted the same way, roughly. But this one is not doing as well as my other one. But it's doing way better being planted in the ground than being stuck in that little 5-gallon pot that, you know, I got it from the nursery that way. So, I mean, my opinion is, if I would or if I had a chance to do it all over again, I would probably just plant the avocado right away. And right now, I would be getting fruit, and it would be a lot bigger than this. But it's okay. We didn't have our water set up correctly. I didn't have a good timer. I didn't have the grounds prepared correctly to be able to plant this thing, so I kind of just held off and left it in the pot. And the good thing is it stayed alive this whole time, even though it was in a pot. It just kind of stunted the growth a little bit, but overall it was still alive, and now I think it's really happy that, you know, we have it in the ground. So here's to hopefully a good year this year, to get a lot of new growth and get it, the roots to really develop down here in this mulch area. That way next year, hopefully, I mean, I think it's big enough to start holding fruit, and unfortunately it's probably going to be another 15 to 18 months before I have fruit that I actually can harvest myself. So Next year we'll get flowers and fruit, and then the following year is when we'll actually get some fruit that we can pick, if it sticks. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. See ya.